The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the quiet suburban streets. It was a seemingly ordinary evening, with families gathered around their dinner tables, completely unaware of the terror that would soon descend upon them. In the distance, the faint hum of engines filled the air as food delivery drivers embarked on their nightly rounds. Among the drivers was Sarah, a young woman known for her punctuality and efficiency. Clad in her uniform, she navigated the labyrinthine roads with ease, following the glowing blue dot on her gebs. As the clock struck, she received an order that would change her life forever. The delivery address led Sarah to a dilapidated house at the end of a desolate cul-de-sac. The flickering porch light cast an eerie glow on the weathered facade. With a sense of unease, she clutched the brown paper bag containing the piping hot meal and approached the door. A creaking sound echoed through the air as Sarah pushed open the rusty door. Inside, the air was thick with an oppressive silence. The house appeared abandoned, with dust-covered furniture and cobwebs stretching across every corner. A shiver ran down Sarah's spine, but she dismissed it as a result of the creepy atmosphere. As she made her way deeper into the house, she noticed a peculiar smell, a sickly sweet scent that hung in the air. Ignoring her growing unease, she continued her search for the customer. Room after room proved to be empty until she stumbled upon a darkened basement door at the end of a long corridor. With trepidation, Sarah descended the creaking wooden stairs, her flashlight illuminating the damp, musty space. The beam of light revealed a scene straight out of a nightmare. Countertops cluttered with strange ingredients, rusted knives, and jars filled with unidentifiable substances. Panic began to rise within Sarah, but she pushed it aside, determined to complete her delivery. A voice, a mere whisper, carried on the still air. "Welcome, Sarah. We've been expecting you," it said, chilling her to the bone. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she realized she was not alone. Shadows danced along the walls, seeming to take form and lurk in the corners of her vision. Out of the darkness emerged a figure, cloaked in tattered garments. The person's face was concealed beneath a hood, only revealing glimpses of their twisted smile. Fear constricted Sarah's throat, rendering her speechless as the figure approached. "I've been searching for a new ingredient for my recipes," the figure hissed, their voice laced with madness. "And you, my dear, are just what I need." The air grew colder, and Sarah's every instinct screamed at her to flee. She dropped the bag of food, the contents scattering across the floor. With a surge of adrenaline, she turned and raced up the stairs, the figure's deranged laughter echoing behind her. As Sarah burst out of the front door, she found herself face to face with an army of delivery drivers, all clad in identical uniforms, their eyes vacant and their expressions lifeless. Their hands, stained with the same sickly sweet scent, reached out towards her. It was a nightmarish sight she could never forget. Without a moment's hesitation, Sarah sprinted through the streets, her breath ragged and her heart pounding in her ears. She sought refuge in a nearby police station, where she shared her horrifying encounter. The officers listened with a mix of disbelief and concern, unsure of how to explain the madness that had unfolded. News of the incident spread like wildfire, and soon others came forward with similar tales of eerie deliveries and encounters with the cloaked figure. The city became consumed by fear, with residents locking their doors and avoiding food deliveries altogether. To this day, the legend of the sinister food delivery drivers haunts the town, a cautionary tale for those who dare to indulge in the convenience of home-delivered meals. For Sarah, the experience left an indelible mark, a constant reminder that sometimes the darkness lurks just beneath the surface of the seemingly ordinary. The wind howled through the empty streets, carrying with it an eerie sense of foreboding. The moon was shrouded in thick clouds, casting an ominous darkness over the city. It was a night when even the bravest souls preferred to stay indoors, seeking solace and safety within the walls of their homes. But little did they know that the danger lurked just outside their doors. In the heart of the city, a small food delivery service operated late into the night. The employees, oblivious to the malevolence that awaited them, diligently went about their duties. Among them was Mark, a young and inexperienced delivery driver who had just started his job. As the clock struck midnight, he received a notification for a last-minute order from an unfamiliar address. Curiosity tinged with a hint of apprehension, Mark accepted the order and set off on his motorbike. The address led him to an old, decrepit building on the outskirts of town, surrounded by an overgrown, desolate neighborhood. The flickering streetlights cast eerie shadows that danced in the gloom. The air was heavy with an inexplicable sense of dread, but Mark pushed his unease aside, determined to complete his task. He parked his bike and approached the door of the building. It groaned in protest as he pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit hallway. The flickering lights overhead added to the ominous ambience, casting unsettling shadows that seemed to twist and writhe on the walls. Hesitant but driven by duty, Mark ventured deeper into the building. The corridor stretched out before him, lined with worn-out doors on either side. The sound of dripping water echoed ominously, reverberating through the silent air. As Mark made his way down the hallway, he couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. Every step he took seemed to amplify the weight of the building's mysterious history. Finally, he arrived at the designated apartment, marked with a faded number on the door. He knocked, his knuckles tapping nervously against the wood. Moments passed in agonizing silence until the door creaked open, revealing a middle-aged man with a cold, distant gaze. His voice was low and laced with an unsettling calmness as he motioned for Mark to enter. Inside, the apartment was dimly lit, adorned with strange symbols and flickering candles. The scent of incense permeated the air, adding to the otherworldly atmosphere. The man, whose name Mark didn't even know, directed him to place the food on a table covered in a worn, tattered cloth. Mark couldn't help but notice the peculiar ingredients scattered across the surface: dried herbs, mysterious powders, and even a few unidentifiable objects. Before Mark could react, the man locked the door, trapping him inside. Panic surged through his veins as he realized he had walked right into a trap. The man's demeanor transformed into something sinister, his eyes gleaming with an unhinged fervor. With each passing moment, the true nature of his intentions became horrifyingly clear. "I've been waiting for this," the man whispered, his voice dripping with malevolence. "You see, I have a taste for something exotic. And you, my dear delivery boy, will be my main course tonight." Terror gripped Mark's heart as he realized the true horror of his predicament. He frantically searched for an escape route, his eyes darting around the room. But the windows were barred, the door locked from the inside, and his fate sealed within those four walls. The man advanced, brandishing a wickedly sharp knife, his grin widening with every step. Mark's mind raced, his thoughts consumed by desperation. In a final act of defiance, he hurled the food delivery bag at his assailant, momentarily disorienting him. Seizing the opportunity, Mark lunged towards the door, desperately jiggling the lock until it finally gave way. He burst out into the hallway, his heart pounding in his chest. But the building seemed to come alive with malevolent energy. The shadows danced and writhed, threatening to envelop him. From the corners of his eyes, he caught glimpses of grotesque figures lurking in the darkness, their hungry eyes fixed on him. Fear and adrenaline propelled Mark forward as he sprinted through the labyrinthine corridors, the echoes of his footsteps mingling with his frantic breaths. The building seemed to conspire against him, its layout shifting and distorting, making escape nearly impossible. But he pressed on, determined to survive. Finally, Mark burst through the front entrance, gasping for air as he stumbled onto the street. The night air was a welcome respite, filling his lungs with a renewed sense of life. With trembling hands, he dialed the emergency services, recounting the harrowing events he had just endured. News of the sinister food delivery incident spread like wildfire, striking fear into the hearts of both customers and delivery drivers alike. The authorities launched an investigation into the malevolent cult responsible for the macabre ritual. They uncovered a web of dark secrets hidden beneath the guise of a seemingly innocent food delivery service. From that night on, the city was forever changed. People became wary of food deliveries, their trust shattered by the revelation of the lurking horrors that could accompany their meals. The tale of Mark's narrow escape served as a haunting reminder that evil can find its way into even the most mundane aspects of life. And as the moon continued to be swallowed by ominous clouds, the city remained on guard, forever haunted by the shadowy presence that had tainted the innocence of food deliveries.